Welcome to this Sunday's Gospel Reflection. Well, we are slowly but surely realizing that our global resources are not limitless. Water, clean air, the oceans, land itself, they need to be used wisely and sparingly because everything has limits. Our planet has limits. And as the saying goes, wisdom is knowing and respecting our own limits. We cannot afford to waste anything. And this is not only true for ecology, it conditions our human relations, our dealings with one another. Spontaneously, we find ourselves being cautious and selective in how we use our precious resources, our personal precious resources, our money, our time, our space, our ideas, feelings, joys, pains, and most of all, our love. We also have limits. We don't have time for everyone. We can't share our property with everyone. We can't trust everyone with our dreams, our hopes, aspirations. We can't care for everyone. We cannot rely on everyone. And most of all, we cannot belong to everyone. So we pick and choose some whilst we reject or ignore the others. And most of the time, if not all the time, we pick and choose according to one big criterion in mind. What shall I get in return for what I am going to give? We're constantly calculating. So we give our time, our energy to those who will give us back at least some of what we need or desire. It could be money, it could be appreciation or esteem, approval, special favors from powerful people, financial, social, emotional satisfactions. In one way or another, we are seeking some kind of profit or return. We do not want to waste our limited resources. So we give only to those who we think are going to give us something back. Like the sower of the parable. We have few precious seeds, seeds of faith, of hope, of love. We know, like the sower in the parable of today's gospel, that unless we sow those seeds around us, we will never enjoy their fruit. But since we have few seeds, we are super careful to plant those seeds in what we consider to be good ground, where it will be well received, cared for, nurtured, until it gives us back the fruit of love, recognition, satisfaction, life itself that we are so hungry for. Yet, in the parable of the sower and the seed, Jesus wants to reveal to us who is this different sower, this special divine sower, who wastes so much of his seed on fit or unfit, fertile or unfertile ground. Jesus upsets us and radically challenges us in our criteria and our calculations. He presents to us not a thrifty, crafty, far-sighted, wise sower like we think we are. The sower of the parable is just the opposite. He is reckless, he is uncalculating, non-discriminating, imprudent, and careless sower. He just scatters the seed far and wide, little caring where it falls and what hope of survival or fruition it can find. He seems to be carelessly wasting the seed. Actually, he seems not to be sowing, but just scattering the seed. And all this waste seems so shocking to us. We are careful and calculating planters, dropping the seed where we are sure it will give us some return. But the divine sower just throws his seed all over the place. He is spreading his love wherever it may fall, all over this one big field, which is the entire humanity, all of us. He seems not to care whether it falls on good ground, shallow soil, among thorns, or the rocky pathway. But the prodigal sower refuses to discriminate, pick and choose the most suitable ground. He refuses to avoid the less suitable ground. He is not sowing so he can get back something in return for his toil or his generosity. He is not sowing for his own sake, but for the sake of the field itself. He just wants the field to be fertile and life-giving. He loves all the parts of the field, whether fertile or barren, soft-soiled or hardened pathways, the clear spots as well as the thorny ones. He is more concerned with the field he loves, whatever state it is in, than any fruit that he can get in return. He is determined to sow his seed regardless of the risk of wasting his love on us. Actually, the field Jesus is speaking about is the kingdom of heaven. To what shall I compare the kingdom of heaven? The kingdom of heaven, which is God's own infinitely loving and open heart. The kingdom of God is like, and this is one of the parables, the open-ended stories that Jesus likes so much. In his heart, there is plenty of space for everyone. Those who bear much fruit and those who bear little. Those in whom the roots go deep and those in whom they go shallow. Those with plenty of air to breathe and those who are suffocated. Those who are cherished and loved and those who are trampled upon by the passers-by. And isn't that you and me? In the kingdom of God, all are welcome, all are embraced. It's not the amount or the quality of fruit we bear that makes us eligible to enter the kingdom of God, to belong to it. It is our simple, faithful receptiveness to the seed that He plants on us. In whichever place and corner of His field we might find ourselves from day to day. One day I am the receptive seed, another day I am the thorny patch suffocated by the worries of life. At other times, just people trotting on me and stamping out the little life I have in me. The seed we are given is in fact the keys of the kingdom, in whatever state or condition of life we find ourselves. Our willingness to accept this key will determine whether we become or are a part of this kingdom or not. Because the keys of the kingdom are not the keys that open God's heart for us. The keys of the kingdom are the keys that open our hearts for God. so that He will come in and make His dwelling within us in His Son Jesus. In Jesus, God is equally comfortable in our hearts, just when they are open to His Word, in whichever state or condition or moment we find ourselves in life. When, like the good ground, we are fully receptive, when, like the shallow soil, we are only superficially receptive, when, like the spot of which is overgrown with thorns, we are suffocated by the thorny alienations and dangers around us, or when, like the public pathway, we are simply crushed and trampled by the cruelty of life. The love of God is faithful to us in whichever life situation we are. However painful it can be, His love for us will survive and thrive through thick and thin, but on one condition: that we remain open and receptive to it. No, when we arrive at the gates of the kingdom of heaven, God will not ask us what we have to show for our lives, or how many sacks full of good deeds or achievements did we haul along with us from down below our poor little earth. The only fruit God is indeed fond of and hungry for is not our works, not our goodness. It is us. And we all will appear to Him fully naked, with our outstretched and open but empty hands. Our only credential to enter the kingdom of heaven is our wide open and fully receptive, loving hearts. Then He will see in us the image and likeness of His own divine heart, slashed open for us in the heart of Jesus on the cross. It is only God's heart that can happily waste His abundant love on us, His precious children. He is and remains the stubborn, the prodigal, the wasteful Father who cannot stop Himself from giving and giving and giving to all of us, all of the time. Thank you, and God bless you.